Now, the resolution scheme for stressed power assets, the Samadhan, in fact, has turned out to be a damn squib so far. And at the end of FY19, only 1 out of the 7 stressed assets under the scheme have been resolved. Ritu Singh joins us now. Well, the plan was to resolve all non-performing assets worth over 70,000 crore rupees. Where do things stand with the remaining 6 power companies as of today, Ritu?
Banks were hopeful that before the close of the financial year, at least some of that 74,000 crore rupees of debt under the Samadhan scheme could be resolved. But we're given to understand that so far, with the financial year closing, banks have only been able to resolve one asset, and that is SKS Power Generation, which will be sold to Agri Trade, company for a 57% haircut that banks will be taken, and they're looking at a recovery of only about 2,170 crore rupees. As far as the other assets are concerned, there's been delays across the spectrum. First, of course, Coastal Energen, no bids were forthcoming, and therefore banks are likely to go for a rebidding in this case. Prayagraj Power, for which the banks had agreed to sell it to Resurgent Power, is now delayed because of pending orders from UPERC, that is Uttar Pradesh Electricity Regulatory Commission. Adani Power has also withdrawn its bid for KSK Mahanadi, which means that the case could only, at best be resolved in the next quarter is the expectation. While the sale of GMR Chhattisgarh to Adani Power was also more or less agreed to by most of the lenders, there are some approvals that are still pending, and therefore this is also yet to be closed. Ratan India Power Settlement Promoters is also out of the window, with promoters unable to bring the requisite funds. And Jayaprakash Power Ventures, whose 20,000 crore rupee debt had to be restructured, is stuck because Canara Bank, which is one of the lenders in the consortium, has not signed on the final resolution plan, which means out of that 74,000 crore rupees of debt, banks will only be able to recover around 2,000 crore rupees by the close of this financial year.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Ritu. But shifting focus to another important story now, JSW Energy will be in focus today as it shelves plans to enter the electric vehicle space, citing some uncertainties. Anisha Jain is here with all of the details. Anisha.
Well, yes, Pavitra. So in a surprise move, JSW Energy Board met on Friday and has decided not to pursue the electric vehicle business. They talk about some business uncertainties and say they would rather keep the capital to cushion the acquisitions in the power space. Now, remember, the company was very bullish on the EV space. They had earmarked around 6,500 crore rupees to be invested into the making of the passenger vehicles as well as commercial vehicles in the electric vehicle space. And they had also signed MOUs with a couple of these state governments like Maharashtra and Gujarat. Now, this comes as a bit of surprise because as early as last month, we had heard very bullish comments coming in from the management. Yes, the net to equity has also come down now just around 10,000 crores, and net debt to equity level is around 0.9 times. And there was a bit of space when it comes to the balance sheet to really try out this business. But in terms of the impact as far as SOTP is concerned, well, the target price had not really taken into effect any of the EV business, because remember, it was still 2 to 3 years till when we would have seen the first of these cars come into picture. So there would be no SOTP impact, but a big overhang goes away from the stock, because remember, they were entering and venturing into a place in which they had no expertise at all. Also, the competition was expected to be really high into this business. So the overhang goes away, but the stock would definitely be in focus today. Back to you.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much for that, Anisha. Well, the other big event in the banking space today is the mega merger of Vijaya Bank and Dena Bank with Bank of Baroda, which is effective from today itself. Lata is back with us. She's going to fill us in with more details on that. Lata?
Well, what I'm given to understand by managements of all the 3 banks is that in almost all the branches, the names have been changed from Dena to Bank of Baroda or Vijaya to Bank of Baroda. RBI had already approved the name that the combined entity will be called Bank of Baroda. Most of the GM level integration, that is, there'll be obviously duplication. So the GM level ironing out and giving each person their area of operation has already been completed. And the treasuries will operate as one from today. So the treasury technological platform integration is already done, because as a combined entity, they have to keep an SLR of 19.5. As a combined entity, they will have LCR requirements. So the treasury was the one that was merged first, technologically speaking. And in personnel up to GM level, it is done. The RMs, the regional managers, each of them will get some 70 branches under them. That integration has not been done, and that will be done shortly. with respect to the overall technological integration, that is core banking, as you call it, that will take a little more time. That's like a 12 to 18-month effort. So that has just begun. Now, what happens with the MDs and the EDs of the two banks that have merged into is what we were waiting for. Karnam Shekhar was the managing director of Dena Bank. In all probability, he will be asked to head IOB, which does not have an MD at the moment. That is the expectation. When I last spoke late last night, neither of them had got the order. And Shankara Narayanan, who was the managing director of Vijaya Bank, in all probability will be asked to take over Canara Bank, which also does not have an MD now. So he stays on in Bangalore from Vijaya to Canara. Both of them are Bangalore capital banks, Bangalore head office banks. The rest of the integration will happen, as time passes, who will get what portfolio. But integration on today, we have one large bank with almost 10,000 branches, Bank of Baroda.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Lata. But shifting focus now, embassy REITs were listed on the exchanges today. Rima is here with all of the details on that. Rima.
Hi, Pavitra. Good to see you on air. This is important because this is India's first REIT as well as Asia's largest REIT, and it has seen some very strong demand in subscription. So the issue got subscribed about 2.5 times. It raised about 4,750 crore, which is what the company wanted to raise. And embassy REITs issues, the units were allotted at 300 rupees per unit. Now, REIT, just for a quick background about the tool, because it's the first time this instrument will be listing and has raised money from the Indian exchanges. It owns and operates rent-yielding real estate assets. So it provides you fixed income type benefits on account of the dividend or the rental yield which comes through, and also equity type returns on account of the capital appreciation of the real estate asset if it takes place, as well as increase in the rental income. Despite the high minimum investment requirement, if you see the kind of response, it's been good. So if you see the shareholding pattern now, individuals hold a little more than 12%, FPI holding stands at 14.5%, mutual fund holding stands at 0.7 times, and anchor investors in this include Fidelity, the Mani Trust, amongst many others. Let's see the kind of response this gets, because the first time this instrument will be listed in the Indian exchange. A strong response will also open up the market for more such real estate REITs to get raise money from India and get listed as well. Back to you.
Okay, all right, Rima, thanks so much for that. Well, time to slip into a short break. When you come back, we'll tell you the cues that are coming in from the derivatives market. Stay with us.